There is, however, some good news for hockey fans. And if we're talking hockey, who better to join us than the CBC's Rob Pizzo? Rob, good to see you on this. And your grin, I think, echoes the feeling of a lot of hockey fans. The NHL and the Players Union reaching a deal. So, pending ratification, what dates should we now be circling on our calendars?
Yeah, Jennifer, for the first time, we do have some concrete dates that we can look at. And the first, of course, July 13th, which, yes, this Monday, July 13th, is when Phase 3 is set to begin, which is training camp. And that's going to be held in the respective teams' cities. Then you've got July 26th, which is when the players will be heading to one of two hub cities, Toronto or Edmonton. Of course, the Eastern Conference will be in Toronto, Western Conference in Edmonton. August 1st is when meaningful hockey begins. They are going to have some exhibition games, but that's when the qualification process begins. And then, of course, when will the Stanley Cup be awarded? Early October, right about the time the regular season usually begins. Something tells me we're going to see a lot of Stanley Cup-themed jack-o'-lanterns this year. It's a weird time of year to see the Stanley Cup awarded, but at least we have something to look forward to now.
Yeah, better late than never for many people, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm sure much of this agreement involved just how the two sides were going to deal with the global pandemic. You know, we just talked about soccer and some of the challenges when a whole team can, or 10 people on one team can get infected.
Yeah, the return to play aspect of this was pretty long and thorough, 47 pages, in fact, so I'm not going to go through every single aspect of it. But let me tell you this. Once the players go to their hub cities, they're going to be in a bubble. And that bubble is basically going to consist of what the NHL deems as safe and where they're allowed to go. Their hotel, which will be single occupancy, no roommates. The rink, obviously, the gym, and certain amenities, restaurants, maybe a golf course, certain places where the NHL says you're allowed to go. But other than that, they can't leave that bubble. Obviously, testing is going to be big. If the players don't like the nasal swab, well, too bad, Jennifer. They're going to be tested at least once a day. When you add that to the fact that you've got 24 teams, they're each allowed to bring 51 people. You're looking at about 2,000 tests per day when you throw everyone in there from, arena staff, kitchen staff. That's a lot of testing, but obviously they want to make sure that this thing doesn't have another outbreak. I should mention this, though. There is one clause in this agreement that says that a player can say thanks, but no thanks, and opt out of competing in the Stanley Cup playoffs with absolutely no penalty. The player has to do so before July 13th, but it does give them that option to say, I just don't feel safe.
Okay, that's interesting. And I guess the best news, the two sides didn't just take off getting back to work this season.
Yeah, no, they added another 4 years to the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, and there were 2 years left. So yes, we will have 6 years of labor peace. Fans love hearing that because the word they don't want to hear is lockout. And the reason for this, Jennifer, was pretty simple. COVID-19 has forced the league to lose over $1 billion. They need time to recoup that money, at least in part, before they start arguing over a new CBA. Could you imagine trying to make back $1 billion in the face of a labor stoppage? It just wasn't going to work. Now, there are a lot of things that were built in here. We've got some salary deferral by the players, 10% won't be paid for, another 3 years. We've got caps on escrow over the next few years. That's a whole bunch of numbers that is complicated and for people much smarter than me. But just know this. For 6 years, we won't need to talk about the lockout, which is music to fans' ears. I do want to add one more thing that's in here that kind of is on the outside looking in. The NHL and the NHLPA did agree they want to compete in 2022 Olympics and the 2026 Olympics. That is still pending negotiations with the IOC and the IHF, but at least we know that after a year of not seeing NHLers in the Olympics in Pyeongchang, maybe we're going to see it again. But again, a lot of negotiation for that to happen.
Well, you've given quite a bit of good news to hockey fans today. Thanks for joining us,
Rob.
Rob.
I'm smiling.
Yeah, Rob
Thank
Pizzo.
you.